Let me make sure I get this right. 1936 was the first Daytona race, first Daytona Beach stock car race. Now, this is before NASCAR existed. It was the first race. Now, check this out. This is what the track looked like at the time, right? So they'd race 2 miles one direction on a road that paralleled the beach, turn off onto the beach, race 2 miles back the other direction, turn back onto the road. So this is from 1940, actually. Same circuit was still being run at that time, but you can see they're they're coming along the beach and turning in the sand. I mean, what a crazy race that must have been, right? Probably lots of learning how to drive, drifting. If you saw the movie Cars, in the Hudson teaches the older Hudson teaches the new car how to drift or how to run uh, run through the corners faster by letting the tail end step out. But imagine racing under these circumstances. The beach had already been used for a lot of speed records. There had been racing on it. There's a 2 mile stretch there. There was a lot of racing that was going on at that time. And world land speed records had been set at over 200 miles an hour in the sand. But in 1936, the official stock car racing started, and it was really stock cars in those days too. Here's here's the winner from that 1936, courtesy of freelibrary.org. If you want to get more information, I'll put these into the first photo was courtesy of NASCAR.com, and this is freelibrary.org. And we'll put the links in them in the description for you if you want to learn more about that. And I highly recommend it. It's a very exciting history. But imagine racing that car on the beach in the sand, at speed. So they're running 80, 100 plus miles an hour on the sand, and then putting the cars into a slide turn to get back up on the pavement to go back the other direction. Exciting times. And it wasn't long after 1936 when some of the drivers and owners got together and formed NASCAR, or began the beginnings of what became NASCAR, in order to control. They were having problems with things like sponsors would take off before they paid the drivers. Yeah, so there was some things that happened around, betting and probably some betting. I'm just guessing was going on. So there's some of the things that would happen in some race environments where some maybe less than truthful people are handling money and making promises. So but again, this led to NASCAR, this huge fan-driven, technology-driven, advancing the state of the art for automobiles activity, right? Because there's a lot of things that are learned on the raceway that make it out in the highway. For a long time, the saying was, race on Sunday, sell on Monday. So who had great cars, who had the best show. Now today, the stock cars that you see, or the race cars, to be more accurate, that you see on the raceways, bear no no resemblance to the car that you're going to drive, right? So if you see a Ford win, you go out and buy the same model Ford, the model name of Ford, it is not really related to the car, other than it has a Ford logo on it. In those days, though, these guys were driving stock cars that were modified to race. So it was very important, that for those that have a need for speed, right? You want the coolest car, the fastest car, the most winning car, because everybody likes to be a winner, right? Likes to be acknowledged, like to have something that is not. Another thing is reliability. It's not going to break down if you watch it race for a bunch of laps and not have a mechanical problem. Now, this ties back to the headline for today's session, which was, they laughed until I asked this question, because there were a lot of questions that were being asked around the stock cars. And here, as NASCAR grew, this became an issue for them as well. I was talking with a group of business owners about expanding their businesses and what their plans were for the coming year. And they're talking about constraints and, what was going to happen, and, what their best growth plans were for the coming year. And I said, you're probably not focused on the right things. Like, oh, no, we've got this. And it became a running joke. Different owners talked about different things, going, well, is that really the right thing to be focused on in order to scale your business? So here's the question that I asked him that got him to stop chuckling. Take your biggest goals, go beyond what you think is possible for the coming year. And we're already into March, right? We're first quarter from a marketing standpoint, we're into third quarter of the year, right? This is March, so it's almost the end. We're into the third month of the first quarter. Bear with me, right? As a business owner, you understand this, right? So what you put in practice this month, you're not going to see revenue for 90 to 180 days, so 3 to 6 months. So you're already halfway through your year, right? Second quarter's gone. So in the next make it the next 6 months. Second half of this year, what is the best you think your company can do? Push it beyond that a little bit. Now multiply that times 4. What is it that prevents you from achieving that? Now you may get a good laugh out of that at the same time, but what is it what does that reveal about where the constraints are and what are you doing to resolve those in order to have that kind of performance? Even if you don't, you're gonna be laying the foundation for be able to expand in the future. Does that track? How do those priorities track with what you're focused on right now? Very often, it may be that it's the thing of the day, the crisis of the day, the missed delivery. Something didn't arrive when it was supposed to on schedule, which is now creating a problem for you delivering something to your customer. Someone's out sick, so they can't meet with a customer. What happens? The things that happen in the day become the priority, and that supersedes the stuff that you, as the business owner, as an entrepreneur, need to be focused on in order to be able to effectively scale up your business, seize the opportunities that are there that you're watching, rather than being distracted over here, having your attention pulled over here. Big part of that is making sure you've got the team in place to deal with the day-to-day stuff so that you can keep pushing those growth issues, clearing the path for the growth, bringing in the new sales, cracking the new market, right? That's where you need to be focused. So do that. Multiply times 4 times 10. What keeps you from achieving that? How does that track with what you're focused on today? Because if those are the issues that are stopping you from getting to 4 times what you think is possible, it's also preventing you from doing what could be done today, what you do think is possible. You're just likely pulled into fighting the day's crises and not being focused on what you need to do in the future. So that's just a quick exercise to run for your business. Get your leadership team together. What do they think is possible? All of you sit down, do that, multiply it times 4. What do you need to change in order to be able to make that happen? What problems do you need to solve in order to make that happen? Are you even working on any of those right now? So, tip for today. Thanks for being part of Wolf's Watch. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. And, just something fun that I also wanted to share in addition to what we're talking about with NASCAR is today is National Peanut Cluster Day. Thanks to our friends over at nationaldaycalendar.com. National Peanut Cluster Day. So snack appropriately and enjoy that. This is Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf, and I look forward to seeing you on the trail.